gentlemen, introducing the pound-for-pound best radio show around the world, it's Leave It in the Ring.
But the real fight fans, I'm talking about if you're tuning in and listening to Leave It in the Ring right now, you're a real fight fan, okay? Because this is what hardcore fight fans do. We all want to talk about boxing consistently. It's a 24-hour thing. It's not a sport to us. It's a lifestyle.
The partner league and it's important. He's the talk of the town.
Maybe so, man. But let's move on forward. Let's talk about our next subject here. So let me give you the rundown. Let me just give you the straight down list, and then I have one honorable mention person, but that honorable mention has to go into effect in order to be added to the list. The boxing's biggest douchebag, number 4. We'll go from 4 all the way to 1.
For the week, I would imagine, because
right. For the month.
There's one thing. Yeah, if there's one thing about boxing, there's no risk of running out of douchebags. So go ahead.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go from the top 4 all the way down to the number 1 slot. Okay. It obviously doesn't have to go in that order. You guys can ultimately pick to see who is the biggest douchebag in boxing for this week here on Leaving the Ring. So number 1, right? I mean number 4 right now on the list of the boxing's biggest douchebag.
Bullshit.
Miguel Cotto is going to be facing on pay-per-view on HBO against some who would consider a shot fighter in James Kirtland. Now, the report is that Ann Wolf is going to be on his corner, but at the same time, here's a guy that just got knocked out by Saúl Canelo Alvarez in a very horrible fashion. He got laid out.
Just got knocked out. It was about a year and a half ago.
Right.
So
he got laid out. I mean, come on. But the effect, though, is the way he's looked before. He hasn't looked great. Okay, so a year and a half, how time flies. But still, the guy was laid out cold. Hasn't looked very good ever since. Hasn't really been active in the sport. And for Miguel Cotto to pick him out, it seemed to piss off a lot of folks. So that's number 4, okay? And then we'll go down our rundown of our opinions about it, okay? Number 2.
Bullshit.
It's Everson Lara, 154-pound champion, super welterweight champion, is going to be facing an inactive Yuri Foreman. Here's a guy that was calling out Triple G and everybody else, even wanting to rematch with Canelo, and at one time was calling out Floyd Mayweather, is facing a guy that hasn't been active. I mean, when was the last time that Yuri Foreman fought? And Lara just got off of a pretty tough, good kind of competitive fight, a fight that nobody wanted to see again in a rematch against Vance Martirosyan. And he had his win over him. So that's the number 3 pick on the slot of boxing's biggest douchebag. Number 2.
Bullshit.
Number 2, I'd have to say Terrence Crawford. He's getting sentenced to a 90-day stint and out of those 90 days that was judged by that was sentenced to him by a judge, he'll probably be doing 50 to 53 days in jail because of what he did back over there at his home state, right in Nebraska. And here's a guy that kind of blamed the media about what was said and what was about the whole incident that he had against a guy of a shop owner, right? It was a mechanic shop owner. He went in there, wanted his vehicle, didn't want to pay for it, and then his buddies tried to take it down, and it just stirred up all kinds of stuff. So there was obviously some shop damage, right? And the cost of the vehicle, the guy, doing some labor work to the vehicle. So that's our number 3. Now, our number 2. Our number 1.
Bullshit.
I would have to put down is the Charlo twin. His reaction to his KO over Julian J. Rock after that nasty uppercut right hand that landed perfectly pinpointed on the chin of Julian, lays him out. He gets back up. I give it a chin. I mean, he got up, but his bearing wasn't there. His legs were really wobbly, and Charlo jumped all over him and just ended up putting him back on the canvas. But immediately after that, his reaction was, he was cursing at Julian. He was really upset about J-Rock and saying that, you disrespected me through Twitter and social media. And when J-Rock decided to go over there and congratulate Charlo for his win over himself, being, knocked him out, right? He was trying to be a classy kid. Charlo just basically shrugged him off, told him no. So that's the number one. I think our honorable mention, though, is what?
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think our honorable mention is going to be Andre Ward, saying that if he can, there's no agreement with the rematch with Sergey Kovalev, that he's happy with his career, and he's got some heavy thoughts about retirement. So which one do you want to pick here? Which one do you think should be the top of all the lists of the people, the participants we just mentioned right now for the boxing's biggest douchebag?
Okay, let me see here. Because Lara facing Yuri Foreman, I mean, how much power does he have? I mean, he hasn't fought in some months. All of a sudden, he picks up the phone. It's Al Heyman. He's surprised that Al Heyman – well, it's not going to be Al Heyman, but somebody from Al Heyman. So he's surprised that they're even calling him because they haven't answered his call for months. And then they say, hey, we got a fight for you. It's going to be in January, and you're fighting Yuri Foreman. If we think Erislandy Lara is as competitive as he should be, and he's calling out Golovkin, he's calling up this and that, I mean, obviously he wants to protest, but if he says, no, I don't want to fight that guy, I want to fight somebody better, well, guess what? You're going to sit down for a couple more months for talking back, you know. So we really can't blame Lara for the choosing of Yuri Foreman. I mean, that's more of a higher-up type of choice, but that is ridiculous. I mean, the douchebag there should be the TV executive that's accepting their fight for their airwaves. The same thing with Cotto. Couldn't find anybody to fight him. You know, finally gets James Kirkland. The fact that they're making this on a pay-per-view, I mean, it's ridiculous. At a catchweight, 153 pounds. But like Steve Kim said on his on a couple articles he's written on his show, is that we rather have the $10 million that Cotto's going to get paid, or what would have to get paid from the HBO budget. We'd rather for it to go from a pay-per-view pay than from, you know, actually from the HBO budget, because HBO is not looking all too busy in the first quarter of 2017. So and this ends the contract with HBO and Cotto. So that is not that big of a douchebag move.
But it's forgivable. It's forgivable, right? I get it. Yeah. I agree with
you. Charlo, I mean, it's fine. I mean, people are passionate. People are heated. There was a lot of talk between them before the fight. Charlo, obviously the adrenaline pumping. I mean, that was a perfectly placed punch. I mean, he nearly picked him off his feet with that uppercut. So I'm sure that he was pumped. The adrenaline was going. So you can't really blame him for reacting. So to me, the douchebag is Terrence Crawford. You know, whatever the circumstances were with this body shop, his car was there. It needed to get paid for. I think the bill was like $1,500 that he needed to get paid for. The guy goes in there as a thug, doesn't want to pay it. His buddy trying to get the car off the lift, damages some equipment. This is a guy that, you know, has a shop, a blue-collar type of dude, and all he wants to do is get paid. So the douchebag goes to Terrence Crawford, but now he's going to have to pay. He made his bed. Now he's going to lay in it because he's going to spend Christmas in the clinker. So, because he's going to be 53 days in jail. So, there you go.
Yeah, major douchebag for that. I mean, you're absolutely right. This guy is coming from a blue-collar background neighborhood, right? And it's basically becoming the people's champ out of his home state. And that's what's been promoted as the brand that Top Rank wants to, you know, label this kid over, right? Is the blue-collar fighter that is the hometown hero. So didn't really act like a hometown hero the way he responded to a blue-collar guy that owned a shop and just wanted to get his money, just wanted to get paid.
As far as the honorable mention, Andre Ward, I mean, maybe he's doing us a favor. I mean, not a lot of people are too happy with the way that Andre Ward fights. We don't have to worry about watching him fight on HBO anymore. So maybe instead of calling him a douchebag, maybe we just thank him for his services if he decides to retire, and we don't have to see Andre Ward.
Are you basically saying thank you, douchebag, Andre Ward? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say that. But I'm not anti Andre Ward. I mean, I enjoy some of his fights, but I'm not either pro Andre Ward because, you know, sometimes his performances inside the ring do leave something to be desired. So, but if he decides to retire, you know, and he feels that he's ready for that, you know, more power to him.
Well, I mean, he has to officially say he wants to retire, but it is a douchebag move when knowing that the decision was very argumentable, very controversial. You had a lot of people divided in terms of believing who won the fight, right? You thought that Andre Douchebag Ward took the fight, I believe that Sergey the Crusher Kovalev took the fight. So why not?
You gotta go out. Sometimes you gotta go out on top. I mean, why do you think Juan Manuel Marquez doesn't want to face Manny Pacquiao again? Because he was losing the fight up to that point. Scores the knockout.
He fought the guy 4 times, though, Felipe. I mean, I think he's warrant.
But every time he lost a fight, every time he fought to a draw or he lost a fight, he would argue up and down whoever would listen to him that he won. He won. So he's been a douchebag.
He's a douchebag in so many other different levels, but he's not the douchebag of the week right now. But I hear what you're saying. But at least Andre Ward, I mean, look, if it was 3 or 4 fights already, I would say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to really blame you in terms of where, Juan Manuel Marquez is at. You know, he fought the guy 3 times, went on the 4th one, and finally he got lucky. You know what I'm saying? It's like you keep trying until you finally just get it one time, and then you never come back and play. I understand that move, and it was a douchebag move of never allowing Manny Pacquiao to redeem himself on that horrific KO loss. But this was a close fight, so close enough that even though it didn't generate the numbers, and I think that a lot of people are using that, Andre Ward didn't pull nobody, blah, 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 but it takes 2 guys to tango, 2 parties to make things happen. So, but I think it generated enough where people want to see the rematch. And Andre Ward, if he decides to say no to the terms of what's on the rematch clause, because that was a big mention on his part, and decides to retire and not face anybody else of note or worth, it's a douchebag move, man. That is a douchebag move.
But that rematch is nearly impossible to make because the pay-per-view sold 160,000. They paid Andre Ward $5 million. They paid Kovalev, I think it was $2 million. Okay, so let's say they have the rematch again, and they have it a pay-per-view, which of course it's going to be. How much more money do you think it's going to generate? How many more pay-per-views it's going to sell? 200,000 maybe? 225,000? Let's say even it goes to 300,000. Okay, you think Andre Ward's going to face Sergey Kovalev again as the champion after the fight that they just had? For another $5 million? Hell no. He's going to want twice the money, and the pay-per-view is just not going to generate it. HBO is not going to pay it. Rock Nation is not going to pay it. So who's going to pay Andre Ward the money to fight Sergey Kovalev again?
Well,
it's nearly impossible to make
rematch
that.
Probably may not happen. In terms of generate or market it, there's a good storyline behind this already, and it's all up to these promoters to play off the storyline. It's their job. The PR guy, the PR people behind the boxing scene, this is when they have to start getting their wheels to spin. This is when they have to do their part, what they have signed up to be in the staff department, right? Which is market, push the fight. So they got to go out there. It's still fresh in a lot of minds of people. They got to go out there. They got to push it. Now, does Andre Ward got to push it? Obviously not. He's not the one that's trying to sell it to the point. It's Sergey Kovalev. So they got to do something. They got what they have to do. I don't know. I don't know what they got to do. But right now, what we got is, I believe, the number 1 spot for boxing's biggest douchebag is going to be Charlo Crawford. I still say that Charlo is up on the running. I'm not sure. Folks, you guys want to tweet us and let us know who you think is the bigger douchebag. Is it Charlo Crawford or is it Charlo? One of the twins. Jermel. It's Jermel Charlo. Let me tell you this. It left a lot of bad taste and a lot of fight fans the way Charlo behaved, bro. I mean, I get it. It was a heated moment. I got a lot of emails. I got to tell you this. I got a lot of emails. A lot of folks believe there was a little bit of steroid rage on his part because Vance Martirosyan was tweeting out, and Vance been outspoken in terms of letting his fingers do the talking and not doing any interviews. I mean, I've sent out some invitations for him to be on the show, but he took a little blasting against the Charlo twin by saying that they did not want testing. Julian Jackson and his team, who we know is with Snack, which is owned by Victor Conte, they were open and willing and wanting to do some type of testing. It was the Charlo brothers that did not, the Charlo twins, Jermel, who didn't want any testing. So I don't really know if that, I mean, look, some of the research that I've read and seen, and obviously we'd have to get somebody that knows a little bit more about this, but what I've been told, and when I have spoken to different folks that have been involved in the drug enhancement game, is that it's kind of a myth, but not really a myth when you see that type of rage. I don't know. That's left up for discussion. Was it a douchebag move in his part, the way he reacted? It was very childish. It wasn't very sportsman conduct. And that at that level, yes, in that category we could speak about, I believe, yes, in sportsman category, he didn't live up to the standard of being a graceful guy. You just won the title. You beat a guy that was undefeated, and you beat a very confident guy. What was the guy supposed to not do? You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Felipe? I mean, what is he supposed to? Was he supposed to be nice to Charlo? Or did he think that was supposed to play into being the nice guy through Twitter or any type of social media? I mean, it's his job to get into your mind to make you believe you can't beat him and that he could beat you easily. So why such the douchebag behavior of being so pissed off at a guy that was playing the natural role of getting in your head?
I mean, I like the fact. I mean, Charlo is being genuine. You know, if he was mad, he didn't like what Williams was saying before the fight. He knocked him out. He was hyped up. He was running on adrenaline. He was upset. You know, I understand the Williams side also. You know, being a sportsman, the fight's over. That's in the past. Like, shake hands. But some people don't let it go. Roberto Duran didn't let it go. I mean, he was pissed all the time. So, and he's considered one of the legends in boxing. Not that Charlo is, you know, anything close to that. But, you know, he's being genuine. He's acting out his aggression. He's acting out what he felt. He doesn't like him. He doesn't want to be friends with him. He doesn't want to shake his hand. He wears his heart in his sleeve. I say he gets a pass.
Okay, well, there you go, man. Now, here's some big talks, and we all know that, you know, Felipe Leon is a big pom-pom wearing guy for Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.